Good evening, Facebook world. This is Justin Sandler doing our first Facebook Live video from home since my surgery on August 4th, which, wow, it's been almost 2 weeks since the actual surgery. For those keeping score at home, I was in the hospital from the day of my surgery, August 4th, and then for an entire week after that. And then I've been now home from the hospital for, what is today, like my fifth or sixth day actually home in recovery. And so I have not reached out any kind of video for good reason. Reasons plural, the reasons being A, I didn't want to, I feel like shit. My energy is totally down, I'm in a lot of pain, and quite frankly, even doing this video is challenging for me, and I'm pushing myself through it. And the reason I'm doing this video is because A, I'm processing some things that are going on with myself since my surgery, and B, a lot of people are reaching out, and I love you all for doing it, and friends and family, and want to know how I'm feeling and what the lab report said, and how things ended up after the surgery. And to be quite honest with you guys, I'm sick of telling the story. So I'm doing this video now because it's hard to talk. That's the honest to God truth. I get winded even having conversations still. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of what I'm going through and a little bit of an update. This way, this can be the video that explains where I'm at from this point forward, and I don't have to explain or talk so much to people. And yeah, moving on. It is now Thursday, and almost a week home from the hospital, and still trying to get used to it. Mary Lou has been caregiving me and doing an absolutely amazing job. Definitely things in her world had to change as the caregiving role, and I'd rather she tells you more about it than me, but let's just say I'm pretty incapable of doing a lot of things for myself, getting out of bed, being one of them, and many other things that I can't reach up to the cupboards. I can't do a lot of things, and so I'm relying heavily on her and then anyone else who comes by to help me even sit up straight if I'm leaning back on the couch too far or whatnot. I still can't use my arms to prop myself, and I can't use my upper body much to do anything for myself. Mary has to even help me bathe, and yeah, that's just my life right now is that I'm relying a lot on other people. I don't feel well still. Actually today I feel really dizzy for some reason. So my neck is pulsing. I'll explain in a minute why and what that means. And it's making my head go loopy. So let me just get into a couple of things real fast. The surgery, we gave an update from the hospital. I explained kind of what the final word was on what was done during the procedure, and I think there's been some new information since then. I actually did finally meet with my surgeon. He was out of town for the entire week. I was in the hospital after the surgery, so I got reports from his team, but I got actual his report on Tuesday, and I got kind of all the updated information as to what exactly is the final sort of numbers on what had happened. So just to remind some of you who haven't seen the video, what was done in the surgery, plus the information, I'll just cover it all real quickly. So we removed the remainder of my germ cell tumor. The chemotherapy shrunk it down to about a golf ball size. Now with this type of cancer, there is no way that this is going to go away by itself. The tumor itself grew into my heart, it grew into my lungs, it grew into 2 of my veins, and it grew into 1 of my nerves. And then even with shrinking it with the chemo, what was left was about a golf ball size of a hardened piece of mass, some like a calcified hardened mass, something that you can't get rid of unless you take it out with surgery, and it has to come out because it's impeding so many things. So this type of cancer, not like any other cancers that are environmental. Again, this is a germ cell cancer, embryonic stage. This type of cancer had to be treated the way it was. I can't believe I'm still hearing from people with suggestions of nutritionally treating my cancer, I'm going to ask one final time, please refrain from sending me any more links to things or anything that has to do with curing cancer, because ain't no fucking tea gonna cure this cancer. And kind of like it kind of got to a point where I got really aggravated, where I'm explaining to people and I feel like I'm not being respected at this point. And so this is the way it had to be done. For those who are still thinking that I did the wrong thing, this was the way it had to be done, and this surgery had to happen the way it did. And so during the course of the surgery, we had to remove the tumor and everything it was stuck to. Otherwise, there would have been future health problems for me. So when they went in there to do the surgery, now I can show you guys a little more about what happened here. The incision itself is here to here. You guys can see that. We had to open it up, cut through the muscle. We had to saw through here the bone, and then of course pulled apart. It is a little messed up down here from those machines, but it will heal eventually. And then once they got inside and they were able to get to the tumor, it was, in order to get it out, here's the couple things that had to happen. Number one, it was stuck to my heart wall. Therefore, we found out that they had to replace the casing of my heart, about a 14 to 15 centimeter by 20 centimeter or so piece of Gore-Tex had to be used to wrap around my heart to replace the casing that they cut away. The superior vena cava had to be, it was growing into that vein. It had to be clipped. It had to be, part was taken away and the rest was repaired with bovine part. And then the left innominate vein, which is the largest vein that drains your left arm. Okay, that vein, which is, it is here at the top of your heart, that vein had to be actually completely removed. Now what had happened since then is that the body here will relearn, I'm told, how to transfer the blood back in. It's sort of amazing how your body does that, but in the meantime, there's a lot of blood that's not flowing. So I have a ton of pain in my arm, especially from my elbow to my shoulder. It's painful, and on the back of my arm, it's actually numb and extremely painful to the touch, which is weird how you can feel both of those. But also because this vein is going, the blood is backing up a bit. And if you guys can see my neck here, all of this really, I don't know if it's showing up well on camera, but the neck here is real, the vein is real pronounced because the blood is not flowing as clearly through it. It's taking time, and what this is doing is it's creating additional pressure here, which is making my head feel a little loopy, and it's also pushing on my throat, so it's making me feel like someone is literally choking me from one side. And this feeling has not gone away. I felt a little bit of this during my chemo as well, actually a lot of it during my chemo, realizing now that it was because the port was going through the same vein that, maybe the backup with so many things kind of going through the same area was creating that, but now it's worse than it was before, so it's kind of frustrating. But we're dealing with that because, again, over time it should correct. And then the final thing is in my lungs. I actually had to lose the top lobe and part of the second lobe of my right lung, which ended up being about a quarter of my right lung, which was more than I thought, actually, from what I understood in the hospital. So that is actually gone, but that shouldn't have a long-term effect. I talked earlier on about the nerve now. The nerve is what we thought he might have to actually take out, the nerve that controls the right diaphragm. That nerve was spared, and we were all very happy about that. But as of my test the other day, as of our scan, it is apparent that the right diaphragm is up. Therefore, the nerve is not working. The nerve was stretched, it was damaged, it was injured to the point where I have no longer, at least for right now, ability to control the air through my right lung. So I'm talking to you today on 1 week in damaged lung as it is from the surgery, and my right lung is currently not working. So I don't know what's going to happen next with that. My doctor said that nerve damage like that usually takes about a year to correct itself, if it's going to correct itself. He said otherwise, if it doesn't correct itself, then I'll just be functioning on one lung forever, which is not my goal, and I'm sure it's not your goal for me either. So we're going to just, pray and chant that that nerve will come back to its full function, in the course of the next 8 to 12 months of time, and hopefully we'll start using this lung again, because I get winded just like right now, talking, walking. I definitely don't have much stamina for anything right now. So that's pretty much everything that came out during the surgery. I still have some pretty interesting wounds here. I'll show you guys from my tubes were here, here, and here between my ribs that were draining. These will heal up. The scars won't be too bad. This right here is where the port was. He actually had to remove it, even though he wanted to leave it, just in case. He did remove it because it was in the way. So I do no longer have the port, just the line that's left over. And I still have black and blue marks all over my belly from the heparin shots, but those all go away too. So that's pretty much it. I look a little Frankenstein right now, but most of it will heal to some extent. The good news, which I had anticipated anyway, so it's not surprisingly good news, but it is technically the good news at this point, is that the entire tumor and everything surrounding it was removed. Plus, they also had to remove there's precursor cells that he feels he got all of those, and the lab report did come back of the entire test, and the margins are all clear. What that means is that in the full perimeter of everything that was removed, that the cancer cells hit a certain point, and then beyond that was all healthy tissue. So that means from everything we see in that lab report and everything that the doctor saw as he removed it, as I suspected he would, since he is so good at what he does, that they actually did get everything out and have removed all the cancer from me. So at least from what we can tell right now, I am cancer-free, and we will determine exactly what the next step is after I meet with my oncologist on September 8th. That's my next appointment with her. We will be doing all the blood work again, checking the tumor markers again, and we'll find out exactly where it's at. Our hopes here again are that we're not going to be doing any more chemo or anything like that. So we're just going to roll with the fact that it's time to go to phase 3 of just pure healing and rebuilding at this point in time. And so, man, I think that's really the entire update at this point. It's going to be a long road back. They said about 8 weeks of recovery. I'll be honest with you guys, the other night I kind of hit a low on a mental level. I've been staying very positive up till now, but everything kind of came to a head, and I got really depressed, and I've been mildly doing a little better, but I've been pretty depressed for the last few days, and it's part of it, and I'm not fighting it. I'm allowing these feelings because I've been very happy-go-lucky through a lot of it. I've been a lot of pushing myself to stay always positive. Right now there's some sadness and a lot of things happening, and it's really interesting, and I'll go more about this in another video about life after cancer, if that's the the next video, or what now kind of thing, because it's weird to think that I might have gotten all the cancer out of my body, but I still feel horrible, and now what what's left? It's like we went and removed all this, and we've left a disaster in its trail, its wake, and now we have to just all right, good luck. And it's almost like life was easier when I was in the middle of chemo. Like life was simpler. I knew more what I was supposed to do and when, and now it's very confusing, and everything I'm feeling is a new feeling and experience, and the pain and discomfort is worse than ever, and so it's a whole different world right now. But I'm gonna do my best. My appetite has been absolutely terrible. I'm down to 138 pounds. I haven't been that light since I was like 14 years old. Trying to eat just for fuel, but really nothing sounds good to me. But hey, this is it. So for those of you who are still offering to come and help out, we do have the meal train up, and we are offering slots to come by, for dinner and stuff like that. I know a lot of people have been interested in coming by. I've been a little against having guests because it's been really hard, just to talk with people. And so for those of you who are planning on coming to visit, just please come, say hello, 15-20 minutes, and then go. It's really exhausting to be around people for any longer than that. And for those of you who have now seen this video, please share this with people. I'm not going to field any more calls or emails or texts about what is going on with my surgery, because I just literally can't. I need to focus on me right now, really take some time to rest and heal my body and get myself back to a place of recovery so that I can start to rebuild. So thank you for listening and for following along with those wishes. And of course, thank you to everyone who's been sending all the amazing messages from the day of my surgery. I haven't even seen all of them yet, to be honest with you. It's hard for me to read a little bit, but I've seen some. I know that lots of people were checking in all day during the surgery, and while I was in the hospital, my phone was actually turned off for most of my stay there. So slowly but surely, I'll get to read everything and get back to people when I can. But just know that you're all loved and appreciated, and your prayer and your kindness and your good energy are still always welcomed, as I really need it, actually more than ever now, because we're really, you know, we've been hit down to the lowest. We went through the hardest of the hardest, and it left me at the lowest of the lowest, and now I have to come back from this place. And so we will get there. It's not going to be easy, but we will get there. So stay tuned, and we'll keep more posts coming, and that's it. I wish you guys a great night. Talk to you again soon.